Hi everybody. Today I kind of wanted to talk about Brian Barczyk, specifically what he means to me and what I think he means to the reptile community. I don't usually like piggybacking or making my content on other people. Most people watching this, I gotta believe you'd know why I'd be making a video right now. Brian was diagnosed with cancer about a couple months ago, I believe right now. Not only do I have a lot of respect for Brian, but cancer really hits close to home for me and my brother. It has taken both of our parents about a decade apart from each other. It's a disgusting disease, and it's not something I think I could wish on anybody on the planet. With all that out of the way, I kind of just wanted to list 5 reasons why Brian means so much to me and why I think he's so important to the reptile community as a whole. Number 1, to me and many others, Brian is an inspiration. He inspires people to do great things. He's inspired most of the community, and even if you don't know it, he's probably inspired the person who inspired you. If you ever get the chance, talk to your favorite creator or breeder. Ask them who inspired them and who put the idea in their head to either get into reptiles or do YouTube even. If it wasn't Brian, maybe that person who inspired them was inspired by Brian. Brian is also a trailblazer. When I say the term trailblazer, I think of some of the earliest explorers of our country. They had to find paths, and there was no maps. There was no roads. They had to cut through thick woods and whatnot to get to where they thought they were going, which was sometimes nowhere. That takes an incredible amount of risk and an incredible amount of bravery to do. Being one of the first to do something means that there's a lot of things you're gonna do wrong, and you have to figure that out. You don't have a blueprint to go by. There was no formula on how to do any of this before he came along, and a few others as well. That's terrifying. When I got into this, I researched so much. There's YouTube, there was tons of creators, including him. There was a lot of people willing to share their knowledge. I've taught myself how to do electrical repairs with YouTube. It's insane how much you can teach yourself these days. That wasn't a resource when he was around, and there was barely anyone keeping reptiles, much less ball pythons, which were not considered a very high-end animal at the time. In fact, they were being fed to other animals that ate snakes. That's not a joke. That's where ball pythons were. So if you're a ball python breeder especially, or if you like ball pythons, you've got to tip your hat to Brian Barczyk. Brian is also very personable and entertaining. He has a presentation style that speaks to multiple generations, and that is a very rare skill. You can be just as old as Brian, you can be younger than Brian. He has that pop that certain creators and certain influencers have. And think about this, he got into this really just as a breeder, as a lover of animals, essentially like a Steve Irwin in a way. And I know a lot of people like to throw that term out there, but it really is appropriate. Brian hasn't had the same resources that Steve Irwin had, but he does share the same kindred spirit that Steve Irwin had, that love for animals. You can see it. It is a guiding force for him. It is an absolute obsession. He's able to communicate in that very same way. Like I said, that everyone can hear, no matter your age, your gender, your culture. That is a very rare talent. Brian is also an educator. His mission is to spread love and awareness of reptiles and animals in general, and he's used his influence to teach not only love, but actual usable education. Brian built his reptarium. Remember, this is a guy who started off as a snake breeder, who went into now building basically an educational zoo, where you can get some hands-on and very up close and personal experiences with animals that you might not normally know about. I really get a real sense of happiness and fulfillment when I can educate somebody at a reptile show, and maybe they just came to look at this place like a zoo and they're not going to buy anything from me, but I have come to absolutely love handing a snake off to someone, a little kid who's either shows no fear, or I watch that fear dispel from them, but even from grown adults who have feared snakes their whole lives, who I'm able to watch that fear wash away. And for someone to do that all day, every day, day. That's so cool. The positive impact that must give to the community can't be understated. One person at a time, changing people's hearts when it comes to reptiles. I can't understate how important that really is and how fulfilling it is, I'm sure, for him to do. And finally, Brian is a deeply emotional person. You can see it in a lot of what he says and what he does, and it's been that way for a long time. He's very relatable because of this. Brian will put his animals and his friends and family before himself and before his own pleasure or even relaxation, often, in my opinion, to a detriment to his own health. He's still working with everything that's happening to him with going through chemo. Watching my parents go down that route, my mom was able to do stuff, but I guess it's a different story for everybody. I most definitely commend that commitment that he's going to do this for as long as he can humanly. That's a lot of bravery. And while I've never had cancer myself, I've felt its effects, and I know that that has to take a toll. I guess I just want to tell you how much you mean to me. I just don't see any of this being here without you, and I just don't see myself where I'm at. I have gotten so much enjoyment and so much fulfillment from all of this and watching my own little story play out. Your legacy is going to be more than just your aquarium. It's going to be more than you think. Your legacy is mine, and it's many other people's. And I hope that he knows that, because just tying it back up to the beginning point, it's just such an inspiration, especially when someone has the struggles that you've had and not let it define them. I hope that people got something out of this. Maybe you could share what Brian means to you in the comments. And furthermore, you can go tell him. He's very active on his YouTube videos and such. He likes talking to people. And sometimes when he's having to go through his treatments and stuff like that, that's all he really has to do. Those are like 6 hours long, not more. We're gonna include links to help him and his family out for his legacy project, for the aquarium that he is trying to get done here. And we'll see you in the next video.